Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Over our first 18 years, we're now in year 19, there has been no better friend to this show than the folks at Madisonville Marine. Since 1976, there's been no better place to buy a boat in all of East Tennessee, or heck, from Georgia to Nashville. And that'll be true for the next 45 years, too. Go visit the team at Highway 411 North in Madisonville this week, and you'll see why I believe in them so much. Madisonville Marine, madmarine.com. Tremendous folks. Find out for yourself. Visit them this week. Okay, noon, Saturday, Tennessee hosts Pittsburgh in what's been dubbed the Johnny Majors Classic. I would like to see, first of all, I've been told that this was really spearheaded by Coach Majors' old players who really pushed and angled for this. I think it's a nice tribute that they're doing. It makes sense. And kudos to Tennessee for doing it. But I'll be even more happy if they surprise me, both schools. Let's take a look at this. And they wear these. If you want to honor Johnny Majors, then go back and wear the 77 Sugar Bowl, his most famous Pitt team, that mustard yellow, not that bright crap they wear today, mustard and blue against Tennessee's old-fashioned long-sleeve, white-striped Tennessee football uniforms with the big T on the helmet, not that small thing they use now. Come on, Tennessee. Get with Pitt. Go back and wear the old uniforms. All right, I'm kind of kidding here. Nobody laughs, so we'll just move on.
Laugh.
Yeah, whatever. Pitt will come in 1-0. Let's take a look at the stats here. Pitt will come in. Everybody just staring. Pittsburgh will come in 1-0 after a win over UMass yesterday. You see their records last year. Pittsburgh was 6-5, while Tennessee was 3-7 under Jeremy Pruitt. They have met twice before, Pat Narduzzi and Josh Heupel have. When Heupel was at UCF in 2018, his Golden Knights won in Orlando 45-14. You see the numbers: 31 first downs, 240 yards rushing, 328 through the air, 79 plays, 568 yards, no turnovers. The next year at Pittsburgh, Narduzzi got the win, and they won it in the last minute on a duplicate of the Philly special that the Eagles beat the Patriots with in the Super Bowl, or used on the Patriots. But you see here the numbers for that offense went down. 11 fewer first downs. Rushing yards dropped from 240 to 85. Passed for about the same, but about 140, 150 yards less there. Overall, 2 more turnovers. Thoughts on this matchup? It's going to tell us a whole lot more than Bowling Green. It's going to be a lot tougher than Bowling Green as well. Chuck, I know you're preparing to do the spread and your picks in the next segment, so don't tip your hand, but your thoughts on this matchup.
Well, what's held Pitt back in this Narduzzi area, the way I look at it, has been running yards, rushing yards. And they think they have that fixed, and they think they fixed it with the last game against Georgia Tech last season. So they've got a quarterback that you've got to love, Kenny Pickett, and he can sling it. I mean, he can, and he's got receivers. So this is going to be a tough matchup, but I really do think it's going to be a game that really comes down to rushing yards.
Defensively, Narduzzi is known as a guy who really spins the dial and brings the pressure from all angles. I wonder how that's going to, we didn't see a lot of that against Joe Milton last week with Bowling Green. Your thoughts on this Pittsburgh matchup, gentlemen?
Well, I think you looked at the stats you showed. You showed 85 yards one game, and you showed 240. And I think right now, still with the quarterback situation, learning a new system, you got to lean on your run game, and you got to have that. And that's what keeps your defense off the field, right? I mean, so if you're getting there, your defense is not going back on the field. You're limiting the number of touches by Pitt. So I think you come down to this. This is an old-fashioned one of looking at who's winning on the ground game. That's who wins this game.
Okay.
Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback, and he's got some pretty good numbers. He's been there a long time. He's a veteran player. They've got 3 running backs that they rotate in. One of them a year ago rushed for over 200 yards. They got another running back that they say is pretty good. His first name's Israel, but can't pronounce his last name. But they named a country after the guy. He's got to be good. But here's what I want to see from Tennessee. I really like what they did on the defensive line and shutting down the run game of Bowling Green. Can they do that against Pitt? And Pickett's going to run the football some too. They'll run some zone read. He'll keep it on some quarterback draws. He's a pretty versatile quarterback. So this is going to be a big challenge to me for the defense. But, John, the other big part of this is Tennessee's passing game has got to be productive or they're not going to win.
Yeah, got to have improvement. I would say that nothing about that performance against Bowling Green gets you a victory against Pitt. No. You're going to have to play better in all facets, and I include the run game in that because I'm not talking about yardage. I'm talking about consistently being able to run it. You may not have to run for 300 yards against Pitt, but you can't have a first half where you're not able to run it at all. And Milton better get 10 seconds to throw back there. That would be a heck of a day if he can do that. Let's take a look at the scoreboard from Tennessee's future foes. This is from yesterday. We only got about a minute or two here, guys. So any observations or things that stood out to you with some of the teams you got coming in here? It looks like Kentucky might have found a quarterback who can throw the football.
Yes.
Which that's a huge advance from where they've been with basically converted wide receivers over the last decade.
Huge comebacks by Missouri, and then and that was really impressive.
Yeah, Mississippi State isn't on the schedule, but I know where you're
and
going.
congratulations to East Tennessee State. Shout out to Morristown's Randy Sanders and Knoxville's Scott Carter, the athletic director. That's huge for them.
That's brutal for Vanderbilt, though.
I saw a ton of football yesterday. The best quarterback I saw plays for Alabama.
Yeah.
That's not good news.
That's not
for
good news.
Tennessee or the SEC.
And I saw two defenses that have vastly improved in pass rushing.
Oh, that Georgia
Yes.
defense.
Georgia and Alabama's
Yes.
defense
Yeah,
have
that's right.
vastly improved in pass rushing.
The Alabama stat that blew my mind, that's their 27th straight game of scoring at least 30 points. That's insane. That is crazy. Then the other thing, watched a pair of top 10 teams last night in this day and age where Alabama's scoring 30 every night. They win an entire game without an offensive touchdown in that Georgia-Clemson game. That was remarkable.
Yeah.
But Vanderbilt, on a day when Tulane goes to Oklahoma and almost beats the Sooners, I'm sitting there thinking, can we trade Vanderbilt for Tulane? Can you get Tulane back in and kick Vanderbilt out? That was pretty bad. Clark Lee, that's a bad debut to lose by 20 to an FCS school.
And to give up 23 unanswered points.
Yeah. Woo. All right, we got to
They
catch
didn't
a break
have any
because
answers.
we want to come back and have Chuck Cavaleras do the first Cavaleras line, and we've actually added a little something to make it more interesting this year. So come on back. We're going to do our Pitt game predictions next.